Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Thoughtful Nuggets and Pearls on Gift of Healing TV. I'm Sarah Jane, and the topic of this share is, do you really hear what others say? And I'm probably as guilty as everybody else. I certainly have been. Since I've been doing these interviews on Gift of Healing TV, the one thing I've very much learnt to do is listen to what is being said, because we don't normally have prearranged questions. There are two questions that are prearranged, but other than that, the rest is very much ad lib. And therefore, for me, it is important to listen to what is being said, because that usually gives me my next question. And it's listening to understand. And I suppose probably nearly 18 months ago, I started a program with Anolia called Today's Conversation, the next one of which is next week. And listening to what she was saying and what our guests say, I find is very important. But it was one of those programs that Anolia and I were doing on our own. And I was listening to what she was saying, and I'm really listening to what she was saying. And I realized that what she was saying was exactly what I had just said, but in a totally different way. So if you hadn't really been listening, you would have thought we totally disagreed with each other. But the way I saw it was, I was speaking from the inside and she was speaking from the outside, or vice versa. We were coming at from different perspectives. And we also have to realize when we listen to others is, how much do we know about them? How much do we know about their lives, their experiences, their upbringing? Because I know I've shared this before, but when my sisters and myself got together and we sat and we were talking about our childhood, etc., you would have thought the three of us had been brought up in different households, not with the same parents. Because our own experiences and how we had reacted to them meant that we saw things differently. Jackie, my youngest sister, has been on some of these programs in the past. Now very busy doing her own thing, which I'm really pleased for her. And there are words that she loves that I don't like, and there are words that I'm very comfortable with and she's not. So do we really hear what others are saying? And the truth is, unless we really allow ourselves to listen and maybe even ask a question, we might not understand what somebody is saying. Because many of us listen to reply rather than understand. And then again, there's always that, oh, we've got halfway through that, I want to add to that, I want to chip in, I'm not going to let them finish their sentence. And I know I've done it. I think we've all done it, but I really do try not to. Very difficult with the family because it's a learned behavior. But I really do try not to interrupt until they've finished. Because for me, that is very important. And with the family, that can be with everybody interrupting everybody else and me trying to listen to it all, and I don't end up by saying a word. But hopefully, I've done more listening to understand than listening to interrupt. So I think it is important that we truly listen to hear what is being said. And once somebody has finished what they are saying, it doesn't hurt if you're thinking, okay, that could be one or two things or one or three things. And it might not mean any of those, and it might be something else. Ask. You know, especially if somebody said something that you think, ooh, that stung, that hurt, that hit a nerve. They may not have meant what you heard. So it's listening, it's hearing, and being aware that a word for one person may mean something, and for somebody else it can mean something else. Just purely because of our upbringing and the experiences we have had. So maybe you've been involved or listened to a conversation today. Maybe you interrupted. Maybe you judged what you heard. But did you really understand what was being said? If there was something that touched a nerve, can you think about it? Go back over the words used. And there's no point in getting stressed and stressy and tone of voice about it. Mind you, having said that, tone of voice, there are times I say things quite innocently. It's just a comment. And boy, from a certain somebody in my life, I get, oh, stop moaning. And I'm thinking, I passed a comment. The one thing I actually try never to do is actually moan about anything, because I can't see the point about moaning about anything. As this particular individual's saying, if you've got time to moan about it, you've got time to do something about it. It's up to us. There's no point in moaning about something. You know, there are times when absolutely we absolutely need to let off steam. But I don't even feel I'm doing that. I've passed a comment. And it's just like, okay, 5-minute lecture, of which I'm probably not listening to most of it. And I really don't listen. It's just like, because I've had enough. I've heard all this before. So maybe that is when I really don't listen. Because I've heard it all before. And I know he's only trying to be who he is. But, well, he isn't trying to be. He is being who he is. Yeah. So there are times when I wander around keeping my mouth shut. But we shouldn't have to do that. But, you know, he's had a totally different upbringing to me. And he's a very dear friend. I just don't like him very much when he does those things. And I know he says it to me. He says, love you dearly, don't like you very much sometimes. But it is the listening to hear. And that's really hear. So, and sometimes the response isn't required. We don't have to respond to everything. As the song goes, sometimes silence is golden. But my eyes still see. So when you're hearing something, what are your eyes also showing you? Because maybe what is being said and the actions that are being taken are two different things. Then it is the actions that we should listen to and potentially query. So there's some real food for thought for you. And I hope that it speaks to you, because I know that since listening and hopefully hearing, that things in my life have changed. The people haven't, but how I feel about things has changed. And how I feel the life around me has changed. And it has changed for the better. Because sometimes when we don't actually respond, it can bring about more peace. Or if we at least listen and hear and ask questions, there is less likelihood of misunderstanding. Thank you for listening. Next week, as I said, today's conversation, myself and Enolia and our guest, Mary Wilkin. Don't handle grief, let it heal. I hope you will join us for that. Take care, be safe, stay well. Namaste, sweet souls. Thank you.